hustling so hard to the point of burnout and exhaustion is not the way to go when building your business. We're going to be talking all about burnout, what it is, how to notice when it's happening, what to do to prevent it, you name it. Welcome. If you are new to me, my name is Stacey Tuschel, and I help small business powerhouses get more customers through the door, more profit in their pocket, more happiness in their homes through our signature framework, well-oiled operations. And I was recently on a client call, and somebody asked me, do you ever get burnout? And she was asking this question. She even said, and if you've never gotten it, like just look, I'll just keep pushing and I'll be fine. Like almost getting ready for me to say, like, no, I no, if you're doing it right, you'll never experience this, right? And she wanted to know, like, what should she do? So first of all, let me tell you, I'm so excited about this conversation. I'm so glad she asked it and that she was vulnerable enough to say it, right? And it is a conversation we need to talk about today. So, I've been in business almost 20 years. So, of course, I've experienced burnout. Of course. Okay. Like I said, this is a really important conversation. I want to talk about what burnout actually is first. Okay. It's a phase where you're exhausted. I'm talking severely exhausted, emotionally, mentally, physically, right? Just all the things. You're not motivated by your business. There isn't too much that excites you. You wake up because you have to do stuff, not because you jump out of bed excited to do stuff. And like there are days where I am actually excited to get up at 5 to start on that one thing I've got planned. Okay. Now, I don't want you thinking it just means you're tired, right? And then you're thinking, "Oh, I'm in burnout mode right now." Right? No, it's at another level of exhaustion. I had a client who was working about 80 hours a week, maybe more. And she joined Powerhouse and we started digging in and I started to realize what she was doing. And I immediately said to her, we can't. I cannot coach you on how to do more when you're working 80 hours. Like if you don't let me help you do less, this isn't going to work, right? Like I can't coach you to just hustle. That's just not what's going to happen. So she said, okay, well, here's the deal. I'm going on vacation all next week. It was like the first vacation she'd taken in forever. And she's like, it's a real vacation. We're going to Vegas. It's just me and my husband. I'm not going to work. I have everything cleared. I'm just going to have fun because I know I need it. Okay. So she comes home and we talk about what happened, like fill me in on vacation. And she's like, I don't know if I got sick or what happened, but I slept the entire time. Like I didn't do anything. And she's like, I didn't have any other symptoms. I wasn't sick. I didn't have a fever. She's like, I was just tired and I slept every day about 12 to 15 hours a day. She's like, I would wake up and I would literally just think, I have to go back to sleep. And she's like, I did nothing on vacation. My husband's even more upset with me because this was the one time we were supposed to spend together. And now I spent it sleeping and he doesn't get it. Right. And this was a massive wake up call for her. She realized like her body, her brain, like it needed to rest. And it was so long overdue, right? Sleeping that long on vacation or anytime is not normal. Like it's not normal, right? She was extremely in just like a massive burnout mode, right? And possibly there even could be, I'm not a mental health expert, but I did say to her, you may want to talk to somebody because that could even be a sign of depression and so many other things, right? Now I will say, and I don't know that was the case for her. She did come back to work that next week and she made massive changes immediately because she realized I can't go on like this. Okay. Her powerhouse testimonial was basically like, Stacey saved my life. And I don't think that is an overstatement. Okay. Now, my point is, if you don't understand that you're in a burnout phase, and what's crazy is some people are in that, like before she came to me, she didn't think anything was wrong. Okay. I don't want the person who's working like not that hard, not that long. I am a little tired. I do like to sleep in long. I do like to go back to bed. Maybe I'm in a burnout phase. Like, please do not think this is you if it's really not you. Okay. But at the same time, the people that actually this is them, they're thinking, oh, that's not me. I'm not there yet. Okay. Now, at some point, what will happen is you will hit a breaking point. I have seen people in business just go MIA. Like, is business still happening? What's going on? Like, you just don't see them anymore. They're gone. Like, they're not posting on social. Like, it doesn't look like anything is happening, right? I've seen people close down, never go back, right? If you stay in burnout mode too long, it's not sustainable. Like, you can't sustain burnout. All right. What happens is at some point, you're creating this traumatic experience for yourself, and you will literally never want to go back. So, in the beginning of building a business, most of us are in a hustle phase. I say most, not everybody does it, but most of us do. We're working way more than the average person. We're getting paid nothing, right? But we know that eventually there's going to be this moment in time where we get to reap the rewards. We just keep telling ourselves, this is temporary. I'm not going to hustle permanently just in the beginning, right? And in our minds, we probably thought like that would be a few months. And then all of a sudden, like one day it's been years, and you're thinking, how is this still like, how am I still overworked? How am I still underpaid? How am I like, I'm exhausted, I'm broke, right? You're thinking like, what in the world am I doing, right? And I really call this like fake broke, because there was many times in my life where I had a successful business. I say quote successful. No, it was successful. I would pay other people great salaries, but I, the CEO, was either not getting paid or getting underpaid, right? And I was broke. Like, I had a really great business, but I was broke, right? Fake broke, because I could have, nobody was to blame but me, right? Nobody's fault but mine. And I had these thoughts so that I just shouldn't take the money yet. So I was causing the burnout because of my limiting beliefs that I was stealing from the business, or I was, hurting the business and all the things, right? And I've also heard people say things like, but my team, they're working so hard. And how could I take off on a Friday if my team is working on a Friday? Like, that wouldn't be fair. Like, I would feel funny if that happened. And I'm always like, but wait, are you paying them to work on Friday? Well, yes, of course I'm paying them to work on Friday. Okay, then why do you feel guilty if you are taking the day off, but you are paying them to work? Right? But we do. We think it. We think it. Like, I always had this one client who would always say something random like, "Oh, I just don't want my team to think like I'm getting pedicures or something," like in the middle of the day. And I was like, "Do you get pedicures?" And she's like, "No, I actually don't." Like, then why do you think your team is thinking that you're doing that? It's like, right? Like, I don't think anybody looks at a hustler CEO and thinks, I bet they're getting pedicures in the middle of the day. Like, I don't think anybody thinks that about us, right? I think they know we're working. And when we're not, it's because we actually need a break, right? Now, some people will say stuff like, I'm not delusional here, right? Somebody at my studio once, I mean, I will never forget this moment because I was just so irate at them. Okay. I was just livid. Somebody said to my sister, something happened with money. Like, maybe money wasn't great at the time, or like we were struggling with something and we needed to hit a certain number or whatever. And somebody said to my sister, well, I sure hope Stacy isn't still getting a full-time paycheck because she doesn't even work full-time anymore here. That's what she said to my sister. I literally, like, thankfully didn't hear that in front of me, because I would have blown up at that person. I would have had no willpower not to say anything. Um, I just remember like what I did too. I went back, and here's the thing. I hire a lot of young people, right? Sometimes right out of high school. They might be in high school, out of college. They are very young. They have no clue, right? Like, I'm not blaming them. So I need to educate them. So I actually said to this person, so I've been working here for how long? The first X amount of years, I never paid myself. And I worked probably 50, 60, 70 hours a week, right? 7 days a week. So if I do the math on what I have been paid from year this to year that, and I divided by all of the years that I worked, I literally did the math and I said to her, I'm actually still making less than minimum wage, even though I wasn't making minimum wage. But if I divided it by how many hours I was working and I had put into my business, let's say in the first 10 years, the studio was literally having to back pay me for all the money they owed me. So no, you better believe I'm going to keep taking a full-time paycheck if I'm not working full-time, right? And sometimes you will have people say things like that, and you just need to educate them. If somebody says, "Oh, I saw you got a pedicure in the middle of the day on Friday. That must be nice." Then you can say, Yeah, one of the perks after you've put in 80 hours and not getting paid for several years, that's one of the perks you get here. If you're interested in that offer, you let me know. Nobody is signing up to work for free for years or underpaid for years before they get cash in, right? If people aren't interested in that part, right? But they're interested in like getting a pedicure in the middle of the day on a Friday. Okay. So you need to step up and educate if you are feeling guilty that your team is thinking something. You can say to your team, listen, you might notice that I'm taking half days on Fridays. You might notice that I'm doing, say it, tell them, educate them. Okay. So there's this combination of underpaid and overworked for CEOs. Underpaid and overworked. That is a recipe for disaster, right? The problem is that we know, right, that we've been hustling and at some point we hit this major milestone and you can eventually start to reduce the hustle. The problem is people don't notice the milestone is here because they constantly move the goal. So all of a sudden think like one day back in the day before you ever made $1, there was a moment that you said, imagine if I made $5,000 a month in this business. That would be crazy. $5,000. People pay me $5,000 a month to do this thing that I love. Wow, that'd be crazy. And then you get there and you don't acknowledge yourself. You say, okay, I think if we started to hit 10K a month, then I could pay myself. Then I could take a salary, right? Then you get to 10K and you're like, oh man, right? We're at about we're over 200,000 a month ish, let's say. Okay. And do you know what I say to myself? Get ready to be real disappointed. You know what I say to myself? I'm like, when we hit 300K, and I laugh because I'm like, Stacey, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. Do not believe that that is the goal. Because when I hit 300K, you know what's going to happen? It's going to be about 400K, right? I voxed my friend yesterday and I literally said in a sentence, okay, so we hit over 200K last month. We're over a 50% profit margin. Like we're in great shape. But I was like, but I am really struggling here on going to that 300K mark. And it's like, I hear myself say it and then go, shoot, like I'm still there. I'm still chasing that moment, right? But here's what I did figure out eventually. Okay. You have to understand that it's not about some magical timeline when you hit this random number that you made up in your head that will make you happy. It's about getting to a place as soon as possible where you enjoy this moment and you can still be enjoying life and work while still hitting and shooting for those achievable moments, right? Like I'm happy right now. I love my life. I am like, how did I create this? Like, this is incredible. Like, tomorrow we are closing on our dream home, our second dream home in Florida. I am so freaking excited. Like, I can't even believe this is happening. I am truly enjoying the moment of where I'm at. I feel good about my working hours. I feel great about my pay, but I am still shooting for 300K. The problem is when you don't appreciate the moment you're in and you think the fix is by hitting the next level. That is where hustle turns into burnout. Okay. So, yes, in the beginning, there is, I believe, a hustle and putting in some work to get this thing up and running. Right. And if you figured out a way to build a business without ever hustling, I honor you. Like, holy cow, you're amazing. Because I have not figured out how to do that. Okay. As soon as I'm in that moment of building, I have got to get this thing immediately to hire as fast as possible. One of the first things I did in foot traffic when it was making $0 was I hired somebody to assist me because you can't sustain 60 hours, 70 hours, 80 hours. You can't. A normal work week is 40 hours, okay? That should be your first goal is how do I get to just a normal work week, okay? And maybe if you're not in the US and you're someplace in Europe and you're like 40 hours, that sounds miserable. Then you be you in wherever you are and get to the normal. Okay. And then from there, you get to decide what your normal is. Because some of you only want to work 20 hours and you get to do that. And some of you are like, Stacey, I'm obsessed with my work. It is my calling, it is my mission. I want to work about 50 some hours. Then you do that. But that's not who I'm talking to right now. I'm talking to the person working 50, 60, 70, 80 hours who they're miserable. They're exhausted. They are not happy. They are tired. They could go to sleep at any moment of the day because they're that exhausted. That's who I'm talking to. Okay. So the first question I asked my client when she told me she thought she was in burnout, I said, okay, let's talk money. Where are you right now? How financially secure is your business? And she said, we're good. I'm paying myself. Everything's okay. We can keep going. Like even if she pulled back, they would still keep making money. Things would be good. Okay. And I was like, all right, I'm actually really happy to hear that for her because she gets permission to go, okay, she truly can take a break and slow down. Okay. She has created the opportunity here. She's in the milestone. She's making good money, has extra money, could hire somebody to step in for her. The milestone is here. This is the moment she's been waiting for. It's not to make more money. It's to get her time back, right? I am not going to teach you just how to make money. I'm not excited about that. I think a lot of people have a lot of money and they're miserable. And that is not what I'm shooting for. Okay. I want both. I want the money with the time. That is what I'm shooting for. And I'm not settling for one or the other. Okay. So if she would have said to me, I'm broke, not paid myself, I don't have a credit card, I have credit card debt, I'm all the things, right? I would have given her way different advice. And that's an entirely different podcast. Okay. So I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole right now. But she said to me, no, money's good. We're okay. But I just can't stop. I'm working 7 days a week. I'm working 6. And I'm like, no. Well, you can't sustain it. Whether you're in burnout or you are so close to hitting a breaking point, you're too close for us to have this conversation and for me to try to get you to go make more money. I'm like, no, let's first start pulling you out and start putting other people in here. Let's get you to 40 hours. And then you might even want to go even less if you're feeling like you really need it, right? So we're on a major hiring spree with her right now. We're getting people in here to help her. Okay. Now, two things are going to happen. One of two things are going to happen. She is going to like the freedom and stay there. Or she'll like the freedom, stay there for a little while, and then realize I'm bored. And she'll want to come back, and she'll come back refreshed. There is not a right or wrong answer here. Some people go to 20 hours and never go back. That's okay. Now, do you see how many vacations I take per year? If you're watching me on Instagram and I show off where we're going, what we're doing, and all the things, do you see what's happening? Next year, now that we have our own vacation home, like that's where I'm going every single time. We're just vacationing at our own home. I'm basically planning a trip October through April on a monthly basis to this home. I am so stinking excited. Every month, that's like 7 months of vacations monthly. Now, my husband always says, Stacey, this is not normal. Like normal people don't take 7 vacations. And I always respond, I'm like, who told you I was trying to be normal, Kat? Like he hates when I say that, but I'm like, sorry, like don't care. Right. And he's always worried, like our children are growing up. I'm like, I don't care. Like I want our children to grow up thinking like anything is possible. Right. Now, why do I go on 7 vacations or why do I go on lots of trips? Right. Well, number one, because I hate Wisconsin winters. Like I am very clear on that, but my children are obsessed with them. Like they love the seasons. They love the snow. They do not want to move to Florida. And I love my children more than I love Florida. So I'm staying. But I'm taking all those vacations because I got to get out of this office. I've got to get out. I've got to get, I love to be outside. I love to walk. I don't want to do that in 9 degrees. So when I go to Florida, I am walking every day. I'm waking up early. I'm just like outside. And guess what happens? I get so many ideas. I come home out with like a list of 10 podcasts I want to create. I might even record a podcast while I'm there because I am so stinking excited to share it with you when I am there and I want to record it in real time. Okay. And I have that audio and other things, but I'm like, I don't care. Right. Although in my new Florida home, we have a podcast room and I am, because we take so many vacations, I'm not always thinking I'm not going to be working. I just want to go there for the warm weather and all the things. So I will actually have like a recording room there, which I'm really excited about. But my point is, I only work when I want to work when I'm there, not because I have to work. And that's when you know you're not in burnout mode. Okay. You have to be intentional about your working time and your time off. And then you want to look at your vacation time and schedule it. You don't need to go on 7 vacations. Like that's where I am now. That's not where I was a couple years ago, right? Even last year, we didn't do that. And here's the deal. You might not be able to financially be able to afford it or step away from the business that long, but you can close down your computer in like, guess what? 4 to 10 p.m. on a Tuesday can feel like a vacation when you step away from your phone and your computer. When you don't work on a Saturday and you just walk outside or go on a hike or read a good book, that can feel like a vacation, right? Now, one thing I want to mention before I wrap up. I was consulting my client if she should take on a new project. This was before she told me any of this stuff, okay? And if she wouldn't have told me this, I would have given her really bad advice. I would have said, yeah, go for it. Easy money. Don't leave that money on the table. That's what I would have said. Be open with your coach because if you're not sharing that information, you're going to get really bad advice, right? Like I always tell people, my answers are so custom to the person I'm talking to because everybody's in a different situation, right? I had to give a disclaimer of like, if you're in credit card debt, if you're this person, that this response is not your response, right? So anyway, I was saying, yeah, go for it. And then she told me all this and I said, whoa, I think we scrapped that project. I think you put it on the back burner. And when you're excited about doing that project and you're not working 60 hours, go do it. Go do it, right? But don't put hard deadlines on it where you have to do it. Let it be something you want to do. You wake up and get excited. Okay, this is so much longer than I thought it was going to be. Last thing I want to share is you've got to get good at knowing when the burnout is over and it doesn't just become laziness. Okay. So for me, it turns into boredom. Like life is not exciting. I was excited to take a break. And then at some point, I'm like, this isn't fun anymore. Like, what am I doing all day? Right. I'll never forget this one time where I was literally buffering with shopping at baby stores. I was pregnant and I was super burnt out and I didn't know what to do. And I just started shopping and it was not fun. And I just had nothing to do. And I didn't realize like I could have just taken on a new project and gotten excited again. But I just kept thinking like, well, no, I'm burnt out. So, and it's like, well, no, at some point you're rested, you're recharged, you're recovered. And now you're like burning out from like recharging and you need that fuel, right? So this is how I know when I come back from burnout. If I'm feeling like I have to go back to work, that's not it. If I'm excited to get back to work, I'm there. I'm ready. Don't force it. Let yourself be called to get back into it. Now, you may see me as like a make money girl. Like that may be your impression of me. Like I'm about making money. I'm driven. I'm wired that way. But I really want you to see like I'm a freedom girl, right? I'm driven by numbers, but only if it's exciting for me. I have a really big guest coming on the podcast really soon. And I had it scheduled on the calendar. And months in advance. Like we had to book this person months in advance to even get on the calendar. And Tanner comes home from school and she says, we have our first field trip like of the whole year since COVID. So I'm talking like, this is like, I don't think she's had a field trip in 2 years, right? This is like the first, and it's been really almost like, no, I don't know. I think 2 years. Okay. So anyway, she was so excited. And I looked at my calendar and I saw the name on the calendar. I'm like, I can't cancel on that person. Like, what if they don't reschedule? What if I can't get them back? What if I don't get to share them with you? Like I just like, so at first I did say, Tanner, I don't know if I'm able to do this. I have something at 2:00. Maybe I could come. It's a whole day at the zoo, of course. I'm like, maybe I can go all day till 1. But then she's like, but then you can't drive. And then you can't drive my friends. And then I'm not going to be in the same car as my friends. Right? like the whole guilt trip, right? And then I was sitting here thinking, like, I am doing this for the freedom and flexibility to do what I want when I want. And I bet you this person, if she like knew that story, would honor that situation. So I sent an email and I said, here's the deal. Here's what came up. And I literally said the whole story. Like, my daughter had this happen. She really wants me there. I'd love to attend. However, if you can't make this work, I will make this work. Okay. So here are some options. And really, it was like, I was really hoping that they would just see that and be like, yeah, no problem. Because worst case, I could still go from 8:30 until 1 p.m. Like, that's a pretty long time at a field trip, right? And they already responded back within an hour and said, no problem. Like, absolutely, we can make it work, right? So if you're leading with just money, opportunity, that driving to that next level, you're not going to have that other fulfillment that comes with the freedom and flexibility, which is what a lot of you have been shooting for this whole time, and you just don't realize it. It's not just the money. Okay. And here's the thing, me personally slowing down or taking a break does not mean the business has to slow down or take a break. You can put the right people in your business to help you grow it while you're here. Someone posted in a Facebook group I was in, and they were like, hey, does anybody have a business they stepped away from and it has grown without them? And people were trying to chime in like, I have, it dipped a little bit when I left, but then, it has been growing and it's almost where it used to be. And then like some guys like, well, I mean, we did, but it's only grown like this tiny bit, or well, we did. And it kind of, it's been staying the same. So they're sustaining it. Everybody was like fighting for their answer. And I responded back and I was like, no, I left like 9 years ago and it's grown every year. Obviously there was a dip during the pandemic. However, our profit margin increased and we've grown we've literally grown this entire time since the pandemic and blah, blah, blah. Right. And it was like, I was not the norm in that group, right? And I really want you to know that it is possible for you to slow down yourself personally and get somebody else in there and have it grow. You can make more money than you've ever made by stepping away. I am truly the visionary for my companies. And when you are the visionary, but you have a gazillion other things to do and you're working 80 hours a week, you don't get to put the visionary hat on very often. Okay. So here's what I want to ask you today. I want to ask you what resonated with you. Have you realized you have experienced burnout before? Maybe you're in it. Maybe you feel like you're heading that direction and that's a little scary. How do you feel about your working hours right now? Like, if you were to rate how much you're working with what you're getting paid, right? On a scale of 1 to 10, where are you at? Are you working 7 days a week? Are you working pretty much all day? You don't really have boundaries? Like, recognize it. Recognize what's going on, because you won't change it without recognizing it. Okay. Now, here's the deal. A lot of these things, I don't want you to feel bad about it, because it's really normal, unfortunately, with a lot of entrepreneurs, but it doesn't have to be your norm. All right. Doesn't have to be. So you see it and you think, this is just a part of it. Like, everybody else is hustling. Everybody else is working 7 days a week. Like, I had a guy, a friend, he was like, I need you so bad. He's like, I just can't imagine not working all 7 days. I'm like, he has like many children. I'm like, what do you mean you're working 7 days? Like, why? You don't need to be working 7 days. I promise you. I promise you. Okay. So if you know this is you and you want help from my team and I, we can show you how to build a well-oiled operation. Why? Because I've done it. I'm doing it. Lots of our clients are doing it. Burnout doesn't need to be something you experience. All right. We can help you get out of burnout if you're there. Here's the deal. If you're burnt out right now, you need help so badly getting people in to take over for you, to tag you're it and you step out for a moment. That's what we got to do, right? So I put together a really short video on an overview of what well-oiled operation includes. I think it's like a 5-minute video and it just goes over all of the details. So if you want to see that, just DM me, Woo, Well-Oiled Operations, Woo, on IG, DM me, Woo, and I'll send you this 5-minute video that I recorded. And it's just basically like if you're like, what is well oiled? Well oiled operations is a system that you take from me and you put in your business within 90 days. We show you how to do it on a weekly basis, but you can also binge it as fast as you want. And within 90 days, already feel results, feel relief, get your time back, make more money. It's crazy that you can get time back and make more money. It's seriously my best work to date. All right. DM me, woo, and I'm going to send you over that video. It's going to go through all the details. And if you have questions, you can ask me. And if you're like, I watched the video, it's not for me. Great. Perfect. No worries. Because you know if you need it. You know you can, this episode did something, or you're like, oh, that's not me. I've never been in burnout. Yeah, I don't know what she's talking about. Great. Great. And you've got this episode in your back pocket in case you're ever starting to be like, wait, is this what she was talking about? Am I heading there? Recognize, be self-aware. All right, friends, big conversation today. I hope it hit you. I hope it was exactly what you needed to hear. And I can't wait to hear what you think about it. So DM me or tag me on Instagram at Stacey Tushel. You let me know. See you soon.